This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do over the airways of ESPN Radio, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM. Channel 80. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Got a big time show coming your way today. I will have the president of the New York Knickerbockers, the one and only Mr. Steve Mills. He will be sitting right next to me in studio right here for ESPN Radio. Looking forward to talking to him about the New York Knicks, their future aspirations, et cetera, et cetera. Got a lot of stuff to talk to him about it. Hour number 2 in the house, the premiere of Power. My favorite show along with Billions on Showtime. Billions on Showtime is the real deal. But Power on the Stars Network. 50 Cent, Amari Hardwick in the crew. It debuts. The season debut is Sunday night on the Stars Network. And Mr. Amari Hardwick himself will be on with yours truly at the top of hour number 2 today of the Stephen A. Smith Show. But before I get Steve Mills on here, let me get to some news that I myself has reported. I've reported LeBron James obviously reaching out. Looking to see who's interested in coming to L.A. so he can decide whether or not he's going to be interested in going to L.A. Of all the players he might have reached out to, I heard last night from a couple of sources that I trust very much that LeBron James indeed reached out to Kevin Durant about the possibility of joining him in Los Angeles, California. Now, in fairness to LeBron James and his peeps, they have not only categorically but emphatically denied such a thing. I even had one of his boys tell me LeBron James does not text. It's not true. I'm here to tell you I believe it is. Because these two particular sources have never lied to me in more than a decade. They have never steered me wrong on countless stories, and I'll be damned if I think that they're doing so now. Not to mention the fact, what's the big deal? I mean, are you trying to tell me that we have to go to extraordinary methods to deny that LeBron James may have spoken to Kevin Durant, who, by the way, is expected to opt out of his contract, then opt in again, or not opt in, but opt out of his contract so he can sign an extension with the Golden State Warriors, getting paid an exorbitant amount of dollars. But if you really, really do your homework, you'll find out that Noel is not great in Golden State with Kevin Durant. That Kevin Durant, even though he may end up staying for an additional year to win another title, has actually contemplated leaving Golden State, has actually contemplated spreading his wings and flying. And if indeed that is the case, why wouldn't LeBron James know about that? And if LeBron James indeed does know about it, why wouldn't he reach out to Kevin Durant and ask him about his interest in going to L.A.? I have repeatedly stated, everybody's been talking about LeBron. Everybody's been talking about Paul George. Everybody's been talking about Kawhi Leonard. Kevin Durant's a free agent too. He's just expecting to to re-sign with Golden State. But he actually is expected to opt out by tomorrow as well, which would make him a free agent, free to go where he wants to go. Why have not people been talking about that? He's only one of the top 3 players on the planet. Now, from what I'm told, Kevin Durant ain't interested in playing with LeBron James. Because he's not interested in helping LeBron James capture more rings. He's interested in eclipsing LeBron James in the ring department. LeBron has 3, he has 2. He gets 2 more at the expense of LeBron. That gives him more rings than LeBron. And while he recognizes the greatness of LeBron, and how LeBron is universally recognized as the greatest player on the planet, Kevin Durant is of the mindset that he's a superstar in his own right. That the media goes out of its way to overhype LeBron. And that LeBron gets entirely too much pub, considering the fact that he is not the king right now. It is Kevin Durant, the reigning 2-time league MVP. You really, really think that Kevin Durant will sit there and tell you he thinks that LeBron is a better player than him when he's a career 27-point-per-game scorer? He might have something to say about that. He might. So that's one of the stories that we're going to get into today. The other story is the news I'm hearing out of San Antonio. Greg Popovich and Kawhi Leonard spoke again last night. Kawhi Leonard is still hell-bent on leaving San Antonio. He's just not having a good time. He's just not having a good time. He's ready to leave San Antonio. He wants to go back to L.A. He doesn't care whether it's the Lakers or the Clippers, even though the Lakers would be his preference. But also, the Philadelphia 76ers are in the mix because Brett Brown is the coach who came from San Antonio, who coached Kawhi as an assistant, has a great relationship with Kawhi, and they're not ruling out anything. So Philadelphia is going to go after Kawhi Leonard. Whether they convince him or not remains to be seen, and Kawhi's camp is telling Kawhi, be careful what you wish for, because you don't like the noise, you don't like the glitz, the paparazzi-type atmosphere. Be careful about saying you want to go back home to L.A., because that's where he's from. That's the story. 888-SAY-ESPN is the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. As promised, my honor and privilege to have my buddy sitting next to me, the president of the New York Knicks, president of basketball operations, the one and only Steve Mills, is sitting right next to me. What's going on, big time? How are you, sir?
Stephen A., what's up, my man?
It's been a while. I haven't heard from you. I'm shocked that I'm seeing you before free agency begins. You usually hide it from me until after free agency period expires.
You know, I'm always available when you call, though. You know that.
I appreciate it, man. So listen, for all the New York Knicks fans everywhere, David Fizdale is your coach. You now drafted this kid Knox out of Kentucky. How are the New York Knicks feeling about the New York Knicks now?
We feel great. We feel really excited. We love Coach Fizdale. We love the energy and the commitment he brings, the passion, the way he's connected with our guys so far. Mm-hmm. It's special, man. We sit and watch him in the gym every day and watch him with the 6 guys, young guys out there, them working on fundamental stuff. They have connected in a way that I haven't seen in a long time. So we are really excited.
Has he flown to Lithuania? Has he gone to see Porzingis?
But he and Craig Robinson are going over to see KP sometime probably after Summer League. But KP, and KP's been really excited about what's going on. Mm-hmm. We had our strength and conditioning guys go over to see him about 2 weeks ago. They were in Madrid for about 4 days. Mm-hmm. They told me about how excited, and KP was saying, when is the front office coming to see me? And KP and I text all the time, and so I'm texting him videos mm-hmm. of the guys working out in the gym, and I texted him the night of the draft, and I told him how excited we were about Knox and Mitchell Robinson. And what made me excited mm-hmm. was the day of the press conference, Kevin Knox walked over to me and said, hey, man, KP did a FaceTime with me. Mm. And so I said, you know what, this kid is really stepping into leading a little bit mm-hmm. and connecting with his teammates. So we're feeling good.
Let me go to the draft because that's the most recent thing that happened with you guys, obviously. When you drafted Kevin Knox, a lot of people felt like Michael Porter Jr. was there. Now, obviously, we can't sit up there and just criticize it because, look, several teams passed on Michael Porter Jr. The Clippers had the 12th and 13th pick, and they passed both picks on him. They passed both times on them, rather. There were a lot of people asking the question, what was it about Knox that made you pick him over the few candidates that you had available to you that you could have grabbed?
Well, we just looked at Knox. We looked at the way we want to play mm-hmm. in terms of pace and space. We looked at we need to be more athletic. We need to be long. Mm-hmm. He fits the characteristics there. We want youth. The kid is 18 years old. Mm-hmm. We just looked at him and said, you know what? There's more upside. There's a lot of upside in this kid. And Scott Perry and I both have a tremendous amount of respect for guys that come out of the Kentucky program.
I do too. Obviously, I've known Calipari since 1993, and we know what kind of players come out of his program. But when people looked at Knox, here was the knock against Knox, Paul. They looked at Knox and they said, the fire in his belly. They saw it against West Virginia when he dropped 34 on them. But on far too many occasions, that fire in his belly, that want it factor, he had all the skills, had the size, but didn't seem to have that. And if he didn't have that enough over a 35, 36 game stretch of a season in college, what about an 82-game stretch on the NBA level? To that you say what?
We examined it a lot with him. We talked a lot about it. And we said, what happened?
Why did you?
He said, listen, I needed to grow and understand what I needed to do to be good at Kentucky mm-hmm. and to lead that team. And Cal talked to us a lot about, their season turned a little bit when he made a decision that he was running the offense through Shea and Kevin. Mm-hmm. And he told the other guys, listen, I'm going through these guys. And Kevin then started to understand that I have to step up and take this role. Mm-hmm. We were straight with him. We're only going to draft you if we start to get the feeling you want to be great and you want this bad. And after talking to him, the idea that he came in, workouts don't matter that much, but what matters is he made a decision to come and work out against 6 people, 5 other guys, and compete. A lot of guys want to come in by themselves.
Have you talked to him about that New York market? I know Calipari has. Have you talked to him about that New York market and what it's like to be in this town, especially if you ain't getting it done?
No, we talked to him, and he's ready. He's ready. He feels like the stage, and that's one of the things about Kentucky. The stage that those kids are on, you go to that school, they can't go out. Everybody's on top of them. You're not ready to come in the NBA after year 1. You're a failure. It's the closest thing to the pressure that comes with being in this market. So I believe in the kid.
Steve Mills, president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Let me transition to Coach Fizdale for a second. Tough situation for me, and I want to share this with you. You and I go back many years, and we've talked about this all off the record. I'll talk to you about this now. I like Dave Fizdale a lot. I love the job that he's done. I love the job that he did in Memphis. I thought he got screwed over there, but I thought it was almost wishful thinking because he didn't want to be in Memphis. Damn it, most of us don't want to be in Memphis right now, but you don't have to answer that question. I will say this to you. We also know what his pedigree in terms of being an assistant in Miami, what have you. I thought he was my second choice for the Knicks. He's a damn good coach, knows players, knows the game. But I worried about the culture of the New York Knicks in the past. And I felt like the New York Knicks didn't just need a coach. They needed a culture changer, which was why my choice was Mark Jackson and number 2 was Fizdale. Share with my audience your thinking behind choosing David Fizdale over everybody else, why you loved him so much, what you think he brings to the Knicks franchise.
I just think culture changing was important. And Mark was great in the interview and had a lot of the characteristics. We just thought David was really special for us. He's one of those guys that comes from a winning culture. He's one of those guys that owned his mistakes, owned the mistakes that happened in Memphis. Talked to Pat Riley about who he is as a culture guy, a developer of players, a leader of young men. We just came to the conclusion that for us, he was the best guy for the job. And to be honest with you, I knew I was going to have an issue with you. Mark's mom and you. I knew I was going to have an issue with 2 people about that choice.
You know what? But and it wasn't really a big issue because I remember I came on the air the next day and I said, I love David Fizdale. And I'm thinking about a plethora of opportunities out there to coach throughout the NBA. And I'm like, I would pick him any day. It's just that the Knicks are a special situation. How has the Knicks changed? Why do New Yorkers have a reason to believe that the New York Knicks today and moving forward are going to be any different from the New York Knicks as an organization that we've been dealing with pretty much for the last decade, the dysfunction and everything else? Why should we think it's going to be any different?
A year ago, Jim Dolan gave me the opportunity to lay out a plan as to what I thought we needed to do to build this team into a winner over a long period of time, sustainable winning, and not reacting to the ups and downs, trying to make quick fixes. We need to be committed to developing our players, competing for the fans of New York every night when we get on the floor, and growing the guys within. This is a talent game. We have to be opportunistic in getting talent, but we also have to be committed to growing this team in a sustainable way. So Jim backed off, committed to give me the room to do that, and when hiring Scott Perry and then hiring David Fizdale, we have a group that we are now respected amongst young guys in the NBA based on the interactions we've had with them over the draft combine and through that process. And we're gaining the respectability of the veterans as we go through. And the guys that play for us now, they are excited. These guys are in the gym every day, excited about where we're going, and we're committed to it. We're not deviating.
No one ever thought that the Bucks stopped with the coach or the executive under the Jim Dolan era until Phil Jackson arrived. Then everybody looked at Phil Jackson. They said, okay, he's the man because Jim made it clear. He's running the show. He can do what he wants when it comes to basketball operations. Are you saying to New Yorkers and New York Knicks fans everywhere, that's the case with Steve Mills? Steve Mills, the buck stops with you. You're running the basketball show?
Absolutely. Jim has given me the autonomy to do that. As long as we stay with the plan we've laid out, he's on board. And he's given me the room to do that. And he wants to be he wants to be involved in other things, growing the business of the Garden, new arena development, different kinds of things. He doesn't want to get involved in what we're doing. And he believes in me, he believes in Scott, and he believes in David Fisdale, and he's going to let us do what we're set out to do.
Steve Mills, President of Basketball Operations, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Let's get back to Porzingis for a second here, and let me tell you why. Porzingis, Kristaps Porzingis, next year is his year, then obviously you got the qualifying year and what have you. Any concerns at all to the happiness of Porzingis? There were times where, he skipped an exit interview. Another time, obviously, he goes back to Lithuania. People are worried that if the New York Knicks ever get to a point where they alienate this guy, he might not be far off from asking to be moved up out of here, because we see stars doing that a lot more often these days than ever before. Is that a concern for the New York Knicks as we speak?
No. We've worked really hard in rebuilding the relationship with KP. For Scott and me, it's been with his brother. We had to make Giannis, who is his agent, and his brother, make him feel like he was part of our group and let him understand what we're doing as a team, where we're taking this thing. We communicate with KP all the time, and we know he feels good about directionally where we're going. I think you can see that through some of his tweets and social media stuff. And in our conversations with him, he's back on board with where we're going, and we feel really good about his future with us.
I'm asking that question because I think about everybody's talking about free agency this summer. Obviously, the New York Knicks are not going to be a major player this summer, but you're expecting to be a major player next summer. So I'm wondering, first of all, when we talk about the Knicks being a major player in 2019, what does that mean in the eyes of Steve Mills? Does that mean going after a superstar? Does that mean having max dollars available? Does that mean the caliber, the Klay Thompson, the Jimmy Butlers, the Kyrie Irvings of the world, people like that? Is that the kind of stuff you're looking to compete for next summer? Is that fair to say?
Yes. Our goal is to get our house in order, develop the foundation. And we are not going to be players this year. We are only, if we sign guys, it's going to be for a 1-year deal, because we are going to have room for a max contract in the following year.
How much room we're talking about you're expecting to have for next summer?
We'll be able to make room for a max guy.
For a max guy?
Yes.
All right. And so when we talk about a max guy, you're talking about going after a superstar. Because the Philadelphia 76ers, for example, are unapologetic about the fact they're star searching. They got Joel Embiid. They have Ben Simmons. And Brett Brown has been on the record. We are star searching. Is that fair to say about the New York Knicks in 2019?
We feel like we're going to put ourselves in a position where stars are going to want to come to us. That's what we think.
And how is that? First of all, you got Porzingis injured. You got the New York market. Damn it, Steve, you're a businessman. You're a brilliant businessman, I might add. I mean, you're one of the guys that worked with Magic Johnson, for crying out loud. Talking about athletes and wealth and building. This is what you do, Steve Mills. The taxes in New York are pretty damn high. I pay them all the time. I mean, they're not easy, okay? I mean, we talk about a lot of taxes.
But you're here, right?
I'm here because this is where the money's at. But if you're an NBA player, you can go a lot of different places to get those money, to get that money. What are you going to do about that stuff? Just the impediments that New York provides.
Guys want to be part of a winning culture. They want to be a part of a group of guys they want to play with. Porzingis is a magnet. He's the reason why everyone interviewing for coaching jobs this year wanted this job, because of him. We think we're in a situation where we have the value of playing in New York City. The Garden is still a fabulous place to play. Players love playing on this stage, and they know this is the ultimate place. And we know we're going to make this attractive to players.
Okay. With that being said, let's get down to it. Porzingis, when you're expecting him back?
January. It's really too early to tell. What happens is about 7 months into the injury is when we'll be able to then have a pretty good assessment as to what the timetable, if it's a 9-month recovery, if it's a 12-month recovery. So it's hard to tell at this point.
So it is possible that he could end up having to miss the whole season. Possible.
We expect him to be back during the season, but we're not going to rush it. He's too important a part to our future that we're not going to rush his return.
So if he's hurt, what do you say to New York Knicks fans that are looking to support you, that you want to support you, but you don't have your star? What do you do? What do you tell New Yorkers in terms of generating their level of support for you?
That we're building something special here, that when you come to see us play, our guys are going to compete, they're going to play hard, they're going to represent New York, and they're going to be trying to win every game. And you're going to see young players coming up from Knox to Mitchell to Frank Ntilikina. We're going to have a young group of guys that we feel confident we can build around, and we're going to have a better group when KP comes back.
You brought up Ntilikina. You know that's where I was going next.
I know.
I'm not a fan, Steve Mills. I'm just not, okay? Hey, listen, the kid is no scrub. But here's my thinking. You're a top 10 pick. I'm looking at you. I'm like, I need some offense, man. I mean, he made Backpage News for scoring 15 points in one game. I mean, come on. He can defend, got long arms. He's athletic. I get all of that. But I don't have the strongest level of belief in him. Clearly, you guys have some belief in him. Talk to me about him.
We have a lot of belief in him. You know, when you look at
that. You've always believed in this guy.
The guy came in bigger, stronger, more confident. He's 19 years old, man. The kid is 19. And what you look for in players in this league is, what can you hang your hat on? This kid feels like he can guard anybody in this league. And that's something special. And that's something that you can't teach. And this kid is 19, came from France, very limited exposure here, but he believes that.
Where you going to get your offense from in your backcourt?
Because
even though you're a businessman, you know basketball, and you're the president of basketball operations, Steve Mills, you know your stuff now. Where you going to get your offense from in that backcourt?
Tim Hardaway will play much more two-guard, more than likely this year.
Yes.
You know, we'll get some scoring from him.
Okay. You got to get more consistent, but I like Tim.
Yeah. Tim's going to be great for us. Trey will be with us. We're going to be fine there. We're going to be fine there.
Okay. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, Steve Mills. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm here on the record stating I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm not sure about
But you know I can't hide from you. So.
You can't hide from me, Steve. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. By the way, before I let you go out of here, I know you can't really comment on specific teams or anything like that, but just this whole free agent culture, what are you learning? What are you peeling from it that you think you can use to your advantage come next summer when you're a player in that free agent market, based on what you're seeing so far?
I just think the value, you have to have players that players want to play with. That's really important. And that players think are unique talents. And you have to have an organization that they want to be a part of. There can't be a lot of warts in your organization and how you're perceived in the player community. Mm-hmm. That's really, really important.
So you've basically taken it upon yourself to essentially clean up any misperceptions or anything about this organization moving forward because you recognize how paramount that is to recruiting players.
Absolutely. My
man, the great Steve Mills right here. Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Steve Mills, president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks, right here with yours truly. Can't wait to talk to Scott Perry, too, and David Fisdale. They don't get to hide from me either, Steve Mills. I'm looking for both of them. Both of them. One last question, Steve Mills. Enes Kanter's talking about opting in. What are your expectations?
I believe Enes will opt in.
He will opt in and he will stay.
I believe he will.
I like Enes.
I think he's a
tough guy.
He is a
good teammate.
Kid. Great young man. Tough.
Tell the truth. You really liked it when he got on LeBron's face, didn't you? You loved that. You loved it, didn't you?
He's my man.
I don't mind a little fight at Madison Square Garden. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Steve Mills, thanks a lot, buddy. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Back with your calls and more free agency talk in a minute.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That was Steve Mills, president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks. You heard what he had to say. You heard what I had to say about free agency in regards to LeBron James supposedly calling Kevin Durant to inquire about his interest in being in L.A. You know what I heard? I told you about Kawhi Leonard. He spoke to Greg Popovich last night, from what I'm told. Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs are going to take a few days, try to work out a deal. The other thing I forgot to mention is that the price tag for the Lakers appears to be Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, maybe even Josh Hart, and a pick. And even then, I don't know if that'll get it done. But the San Antonio Spurs are clearly entertaining talks. The Los Angeles Lakers clearly have intensified talks, as was previously reported yesterday by ESPN, because the belief is that they have to get somebody in L.A. in order for LeBron to be willing to come to L.A. Now, in fairness to LeBron James and his camp, they've categorically denied ever reaching out to Kevin Durant. I personally have heard otherwise, which is why I've told y'all, and that is that. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. John in Freehold, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, good afternoon, Stephen A.
How are you, buddy?
Outstanding interview with Steve Mills. I enjoyed it greatly as a big Knick fan as you are, and I thank you for it.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Question for you, Stephen A. Best case scenario for me as a Knicks fan is when all the smoke clears at the end of next season, best case scenario is the Knicks develop the young players they need to develop. You know who they are. They find themselves with a top 3 pick in next year's draft, and they're able at the trade deadline with Cantor on an expiring contract, Moutier on an expiring contract. You hope that Fizdale can extract the best out of these guys. They go through a healthy season, and they have some kind of value at the trade deadline, as well as Joakim Noah. Everybody forgets about Joakim Noah. If he can come back healthy and play well, Stephen A., with 1 year left on his contract, maybe you could flip him at the trade deadline as well and get some more assets, because you know this organization.
John, are you listening to me, John? Put him back up. John, are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
You got to listen to me, bro. This is Stephen A. Smith Show. You got to listen to me, okay? You're being entirely too emotional. Because you just said Joakim Noah could come back. Really? When he was healthy, his offense was horrific. The guy is owed almost $38 million, 37.7 to be exact, with 2 guaranteed years remaining. If they can get rid of that contract, it would be a miracle. I don't want to hear. I know he could defend. But he was never great offensively to begin with. I love the heart of Joakim Noah, and I love his defensive prowess when healthy. But he's older now, beat up, can barely move. I don't know if that's a good guy to have faith in. That's number one. Number two, the combination of Cantor with Moutier attracts me, because that could save $22 million. New York Knicks clearly believe they're going to have enough money for cap space for a max deal, which they've told you. Here's what I would qualify as a winner, John, just to appease you, okay? Get a top 5 pick in the draft next year, all right? Develop the young players. They got to get a star. We got to find a way to make sure that New York becomes an attractive destination again. With the weather, the taxes, the media microscope, there's so much to dissuade the modern day player from not coming to New York, because you can get in the smaller, more quieter markets exactly what you could get in the New York market as a salaried employee. The only way you could pull this off is if you get a star, man.
And the best way to do it, Stephen A., final 10 to 15 games of the season, Porzingis comes back, proves that he's healthy, and looks good on the floor.
I'm not going to disagree with that. I'm not going to disagree with that, John, but you didn't say the star part. And I'm saying to you, your assertions of what they should do does not work unless you're including the star.
Well, how about we get a star? How about we get a star in the draft and we get a star in free agency? How would you like that scenario?
Well, of course I would love that, but unless there's a Shaq or a LeBron or somebody in the draft, usually it doesn't work that way, John. That's the problem.
Well, we got to hope that our organization's done their due diligence with the draft. And real quick, going back to Joakim Noah.
Go ahead.
Kwame Brown for Paul Gasol. There's a sucker born every day, Stephen A.
Yeah, well, you got that line from me. Tell the audience you got that line from me. You know you got that line from me. I use it all the time. There's a sucker born every minute. You know that.
You're damn well I do.
Thanks a lot, John. I appreciate the call, buddy. Thank you so much. Tony, you're live with Stephen A. What's up, my brother?
¿Cómo está, Stephen A?
¿Cómo está? What's up, brother? What's going on?
Chilling, man. Loving it. You know what I mean? We got up in Fort Knox, got Kevin Knox. Loving what the Knicks did. Quick question for you. What do you think about KD and LeBron teaming up and going to Washington? Mr. James going to Washington.
They can't do it. They can't do it unless Ernie and those guys trade pieces, because it cannot happen. First of all, they don't even have enough cap space to get a medium level player. Washington's their payroll's like at $124 million, bro. They don't have any cap space. Zero. And not only that, Kevin Durant didn't want to go back home, and LeBron never mentioned Washington.
The reason I was saying that, because Ramona Shelburne said something about, legacy yesterday. I would love to see him right there front and center in D.C. holding it down with Kevin Durant. But, hey, we could all wish, right?
That's right. But listen, like I said, I'm hearing he called, he texted Kevin Durant to inquire about his interest in coming to L.A. That doesn't mean he was begging him to come to L.A. or anything. I'm not trying to imply that. It's just that all of these guys out here trying to figure out what they want to do. The belief is Paul George is going to stay in OKC, even though there's still an outside chance he could end up going to Philly. The belief is Kawhi Leonard definitively has told the San Antonio Spurs he wants out. He's not going to change his mind. The San Antonio Spurs have tried to soften his position, but recognize he's resolute in wanting to go to L.A., so they're going to try to move him over the next 3 to 5 days. However, Philadelphia is in the mix because Brett Brown used to be an assistant in San Antonio, has a good relationship with Kawhi. Kawhi has the kind of personality that doesn't want the glitz and glamour of L.A., even though that's his hometown. And because of it, Brett Brown and Philadelphia believe they have a chance to get him there. I don't know what the truth is. I'm just telling you what folks are saying.
You already know, Stephen. I appreciate it, my man. Thank you for your time. Yo, you have a wonderful day. God
you do
bless.
the same. You do the same. God bless. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. More to Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio in a minute.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it. Back to the phones. Romaine, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Good afternoon, Mr. Smith. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for calling.
Long-time fan of you. I'm a Lakers fan. I'd like to comment on the free agency situation that we have going on.
Okay.
So I might be in the minority here. I don't think we should add LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard to the team because I'm afraid of drama that might bring.
How do you explain this to me? Why does drama concern you more than winning? You haven't made the playoffs in 4 to 5 years. Why does drama concern? I understand if you're winning, but if you're losing and you're not making the playoffs, why the hell are you concerned about drama more than winning?
Because this is what I think we should go after instead. If we added Paul George, and people are sleeping on Boogie Cousins this year.
Hold on. Why are you not snoring on Boogie Cousins? He tore an Achilles. He's been out for the last few months. He's projected to possibly be out for this entire season. Why are you not snoring on Boogie Cousins?
Because I don't think we could win this year, even if we added LeBron and Kawhi Leonard.
You don't think you can win what? You don't think you can win what?
The championship being that the Golden State Warriors.
Okay, you can't win a championship. What if you won 50 games and ended up advancing to the conference finals? Is that losing?
No, but the long term goal rather would be to have sustained success, and I think next summer we should go after Klay Thompson and add him into the mix. That's assuming that Brandon Ingram develops, Lonzo Ball develops, and Kyle Kuzma as well continues. So we'll have the strength in numbers and good depth to challenge for the future. And I feel like that the Golden State Warriors will taper off with the salary cap restrictions that they will face. Well,
not necessarily salary cap restrictions they would face. I think Kevin Durant would leave before Klay Thompson would leave. But that's just me. Appreciate the call. Thank you. Max, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Stephen A., my man. Thanks for taking my call.
Go ahead, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So I'm a young Knicks fan. I'm looking forward to the future. I'm optimistic, man. But I got a question for you. I would love to see Kyrie Irving in uniform, just like everyone else would. But we have to be weary of the Celtics going far next year. Maybe not winning it all, but I bet you they make the finals. It could go 7 games. I don't see him walking away from that.
I see Kyrie Irving going to a franchise that wants to make him the face of the franchise and is willing to give him max dollars. Because you have Jason Tatum, the Jaylen Browns of the world, a Terry Rozier that backed up admirably, a Marcus Smart that you might have to give $14 million to this summer in free agency, a Al Horford whose contract situation is coming up as well. I could see Boston not willing to pay Kyrie, thinking they could have success without him and letting him go somewhere else to get the max. I could see that.
You think he's going to walk away from, but they're really close to winning it all.
They just won it all in Cleveland and then went to an NBA Finals, and he walked away from that. Just a thought.
I would love to see it.
We'll see it. Take it easy, man. Dave, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Hey, good afternoon, sir. First-time caller. My quick question is, say the Lakers, I'm in the minority down here in South Florida being a Laker fan. Say they whiff on Paul George, on Kawhi. based off of, obviously, the West is the varsity and the East is the JV league, do you think LeBron would still make that jump with the young core we have, knowing that next summer is just as fruitful as this summer?
Dave, I think he would. That I don't know. I'm not pretending to know. I think he would. I think he would. I really do.
Do you think LeBron next summer is as fruitful as this summer?
No. I was answering your question in terms of, do I think LeBron would go to L.A. knowing that next summer is fruitful?
Okay.
Like go to L.A. with just the young dudes now, and next summer they could be fruitful. I could see that with LeBron.
And do you think with LeBron off the board, with Kawhi potentially being on the trading block, or he is on the trading block, minus, LeBron from this free agent class, wouldn't you say that next summer is probably more fruitful than this summer if LeBron's taken off that list entirely?
I don't know. I got to think about that, and I got to see how guys perform this year. But I appreciate the call. Jay, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Jay, go ahead.
Hey, Stephen A. I think it would be idiotic to me if the Lakers traded for Kawhi. I think it makes no sense to me to trade for him when he wants to come to L.A. I know that if he's traded, he's not going to sign the extension to any of these other teams. So why would I give up young guys like Kuzma that he could use and Ingram that he could use, and they still on like rookie contracts, not paying them a boatload of money? I don't think that's worth the risk.
Well, you're right. You're right, Jay. I appreciate the call. I got to run. You're right. You're right on its face. Unless you're the Lakers and LeBron is telling you one of these cats have got to come in order for me to come to L.A. You are right. If LeBron's not saying that, there's no reason that the Lakers should do this. But if LeBron is telling you that and you desperately want LeBron, then obviously that changes things, and you got to do what the king tells you to do. Hour number 2 up next with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Amari Hardwick up next.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.